Today we're going to look at lessons 2 through 4 and just do a little review on the syntactic slots of simple sentences. Our first sentence today is sliding down the steep hill was the scariest part. The actor is a phrase, it's called a gerund phrase, and it is sliding down the steep hill. The action is a to be verb, was, and the answer is what? The scariest part, which is also a phrase. This next sentence is a little bit confusing because it has a dependent clause function as the actor of the entire sentence. So the sentence reads, whoever wants a slice of pizza may have one. It looks like there's two verbs in the sentence, wants and may have. But really one of those verbs is the verb of the dependent clause, which again is the actor. The actor is an individual. Whoever wants a slice of pizza. So wants, even though it is an action, it is the action of this dependent clause, not of the entire sentence. Now the action of the entire sentence is may have, and the answer is one. Whoever wants a slice of pizza, that person may have one. This next sentence has a dependent clause function as one of its answers. So again, it's going to look like there are two actions, shadowed and lived. But remember, one of those actions belongs to the sentence, and one belongs to the dependent clause functioning as the answer of the sentence. So the actor is the dark woods. What did they do? Well, they shadowed. And they shadowed where? The hillside where he lived. Where he lived is a dependent clause functioning as one of the answers. He is the actor, lived is the action. But remember, those are the actors and the actions of the dependent clause, not of the entire sentence. Now here's a very tricky one, so be careful. Down came the last of the hateful posters. Well, down is not an actor, it is not a thing. The actual actor of this sentence is a phrase, the last of the hateful posters. What did they do? They came. And where? Down. So remember, sometimes your simple sentences will be inverted. The slots will be moved around, and that's what happened here. Here's a pretty easy one. Love suffered a terrible and unenviable end. In this sentence, we have love, an idea or an abstraction functioning as the actor. We have the action suffered, and then it has two answers. Suffered what? A terrible and unenviable end. This next sentence is an interesting case. Coming upon him here was something we had not expected. Now, typically, we think of the actor as coming first, then the action and the answer. In that case, coming upon him here would be the actor. The action would be was, and the answer would be a dependent clause, something we had not expected. But this is also a situation where we could reverse the actor and the answer around. We could have written this sentence as something we had not expected was coming upon him here, and that would be correct too. Just be aware that with certain sentences, you can sometimes reverse the actor and the answer, and it will still make sense. Here's a sentence that typically messes up my students. He hid in the alley and watched. Well, we know the actor is he. Okay, and what did he do? He hid. He hid where? In the alley. But what is watched? That's not an answer. That's also an action that he did. So that would go under the action slot. He hid in the alley and watched. Remember, there will be times when you have multiple actions. This next sentence might be a little confusing. The crowded plaza bustled. Well, the actor is clearly the crowded plaza. What did the crowded plaza do? It bustled. What is the answer? Well, there doesn't always have to be an answer. Remember, an independent clause must have an actor and an action working together, but it doesn't always have to have an answer. Sometimes it's nice to give an answer, but you do not always need one. This sentence is a little bit confusing. Something on the other side of the plaza seemed to be moving through the crowd. Well, what is the thing that's moving? It is something on the other side of the plaza. Then we have what I would argue is a verb phrase. Seem to be moving. And where did it seem to be moving? Through the crowd. A lot of my students want to say that the action is seemed and they want to put to be moving as part of the answer. And some people like to argue about infinitives not being verbs and such. But in this case, seem to be moving seems to work together as an action phrase. So I put it all together as the action. And of course, don't forget that answer slot can be a little tricky. In this sentence, the possibility of getting caught suddenly crossed his mind. Well, the actor is the possibility of getting caught. Now, you can't suddenly something, but you can cross something. So cross is the action. In this case, suddenly is an answer that came in front of the action, so be careful. When did it cross? Suddenly. And what did it cross? His mind. So we have multiple answers, but those answers were split up by the action. So always be careful. The most important thing to remember when creating your sentences is that in order to do so, You have to have these actors, these actions, and these answers. Sometimes those parts of sentences will be words, sometimes they will be phrases, and sometimes they will be dependent clauses. That's all for this one, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.